So today I decided to do something different. Shake it up a bit, maybe some may say. And I decided to do my podcasts while I'm driving, recording, and all that good stuff. And I'm a crazy woman. I am. And I'm not afraid to be authentic to myself, which is sometimes difficult for others. Do I have tattoos? Yeah. Am I curvy? Sure am. Am I educated? Damn skippy. Am I all that in a bag of chips? Baby, believe it. Believe it. But that type of confidence, it's not for everyone. It's not everyone's cup of tea. But today I want to talk about moving on. Because sometimes I carry a bag with me wherever I go. And that seasoning is not always tasteful. But what I want to talk about is just a loving learning lesson. And let me just tip my hat to the past real quick. Last year, it was around Mother's Day, and someone said to me, "Oh, what are you doing with your mom this year? What are you gonna do for her?" Almost dropped you. And I said, "What am I gonna do?" And I said, "My mom's dead." That's how I said it. And at the time, that's how I said it. And they were like, "Oh my God, but didn't your mom pass away like 20 years ago?" The truth is my mom passed away 24 years ago. But every day, it burns like moments. Now, me and my sister, we used to always say, people don't understand until the love and loss that they lived happens to them. Until then, go. Until then, they won't understand it, no matter what. I mean, I don't know how to explain it in any other way. I want to think about it differently, but it's not quite that way. You see, what happens is people will sympathize with you in your pain. Oh, that's terrible. I'm sorry that happened to you. But when it happens to them, they empathize. Oh, I know what you're going through. You feel the difference? And so when that person asked, and they were quietly offended by my response, I need you to understand something. The offense began and ended with them. Because I wasn't offended to tell the transitional moment what I went through. I wasn't ashamed to say it. I wasn't embarrassed. I didn't feel the room because it was the transparent truth of what occurred. And the reason why I said it that way in that moment is because this particular person knew previously that my mom was, not around anymore. And, look at that. They didn't understand that wasn't the right moment to really, it was insensitive. So what do? Do I cry into a tissue? Do I write down my issue? Do I go buy a Knish with mustard? Yeah, come on. You know what I do? I move on. Because I can grieve the pain of the loss of my love losses. But I need to then say, in my rules of engagement, this person shows consistency of lack of empathy, lack of sympathy, lack of respect. So now, next time I deal with this person, I know that this relationship is really face value. Not only that, we have a transactional relationship. For example, if they need a copy, I make the copy. Here's the copy. You have your copy. It's not about deeper than that. And it's funny because that particular person would then reach out later on and say, "Oh, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that?" And the truth is, my answer would be yes, because it's transactional. It wasn't any deeper. So I need you to learn from that moment so I can get into other moments. That's a tough one, right? Just saying. Well, now with that said, we move on. Literally. So here I am, and I'm working for this company. I'm doing an amazing job. I am really fixing holes where there's errors. I am analytically showing transactional dollars. And this is a multi-million-dollar company I'm speaking of. And you know what? Something happens, COVID, and they got to let people go. So they let go of 500 people. And in that time, I'm so like, oh, why was let go? You know, I knew at that time my manager in particular didn't like me. And, you know, sometimes when your talent and your skills speak for themselves and someone that you work under is lackluster of those talents and skills, honestly, I can say the truth, there's an issue there, right? Because the funny thing is, you know, this is why I love LinkedIn. When you log on to LinkedIn, you can see every single person who looks onto your profile. And I make it a promise that I will never click on someone's profile unless I'm clicking for them to connect. If I want you to connect with me, I'm going to look at your profile and then I'm going to connect. I'm going to say, the moment you connect, thank you for connecting with me. I looked over your network and I feel we could become great partners. Literally. Sometimes I don't say anything and I just say thank you and I connect. Every single connection that I get, I don't turn away. I accept every connection. However, when people look at your profile, it's the funniest thing. Because I don't know what they think. Do they not realize that I can see it? But this particular manager kept looking at my profile all the time. And I knew it's because they despised my essence, my being, my aura. But when COVID happened, if you were home like, why me? Why me? You really shouldn't have been that way, because a million other people were in the same scenario. So what does that tell you? Well, misery loves company. Seriously. If everyone it occurred to, then you're not so special in being terminated. Now, what's going to happen? What's going to be offered to you? What is the outcome? What are the next steps? Is how you formulate your tactical plan for strategy in your business. So if you don't have the sense to say, okay, this just happened, we have no customers, what are we going to do? Well, super savvy folks were like, I'm going to cook, I'm going to deliver, right? Super savvy folks were like, okay, you know what? You can't get to that store. I'll do your grocery shopping for you and I'll bring it to you. Super savvy people cornered the market. Everyone was remote if they could be. Some businesses absolutely could not be. Now, here we are, 2024. 2024, right before January. The market's not saturated. But what's going on right now? Does anyone know? Let me tell you what's going on. Right now, in fact, anyone who had the COVID grants, for example, a lot of people I know who work remote were told, guess what? You got to come back in. And that thought of, wait, I have to come back into work really was disturbing to them. Why? It was disturbing because they created a whole bubble remotely. This is millions of people. And the COVID transitions are over. So what? Some employees don't understand that. So let me express. Let's say before COVID, I'm going to throw out statistics that are approximate, more estimated than approximate. Maybe 15% worked from home and 85% was on site. And hybrid was really not that paramount yet. And, traveling notaries, because I am one, and things of that nature really wasn't trending yet. When COVID happened, the transition happened where people were called back to work on site because of the overhead. Why are we paying for these buildings and no one's in these buildings? And then COVID happened and everybody was told work from home. COVID grants gave a tax break, an incentive to employers that, listen, we understand what just happened with our economy, with our job market. So let's keep the employees at home, and let's keep the stasis, or let's keep the balance right now employed until everything seems like it's 100%, reliable to go back. Some areas, people still wear masks. People are feeling safe. People don't want to go in the trains. It's understood. When the COVID grant ended, what it really spoke out, what it really said, if you didn't sit through it, I'll explain it to you very simply. It explained that, guess what, folks? You're not going to get a tax break on your overhead, meaning your employees working from home anymore. Because when you had your employees in the office, the electricity, the gas, the rent, these were taxable items for the employer. When the employee worked at home, the employer can't claim that anymore, but now the employee can. But because that ended, well, guess what? Now, how are you compensating? Well, you're not getting these grants anymore, so now you have to compensate. So now you have this building, this space, but those costs are no longer feasible to have people work from home. You're going to need them to come in. And the world of people working from home, where they would come in, there's a gym, there's a this, there's a that, all of those luxury amenity items, which became assets, like, for my benefit package compensation, I'm going to need a gym pass, I'm going to need this and that, is gone in the wind. Non-negotiables. Some don't even have benefits. Or where you would get 100% benefit, now maybe you have to pay into it. It happens. It literally happens. And so as of June, a lot of this happened to big industry, corporations, schools, so many different healthcares, so many industries, right? Tech world, IT. And then what hit? January, February. AI launch and take over. You can literally say in Google, you can say, create a thesis regarding this, and that. And guess what? It's created. Think about that. So certain jobs are eliminated. Now, from the job market not being saturated, the job market's now saturated. We have employees sitting at work applying for jobs. And it's so crazy. It's at 85% or higher, where all they're doing is applying for jobs. Spending hours, 4 to 6 hours, it's estimated, a day, 20 to 30 hours a week, just applying for jobs. Think about that. So, with that said, what do you do? Where do you go? What job board do you go to? You go to LinkedIn, you go to Indeed, you go to Monster. Where do you go? This is what's going on. And so the funny thing is, there's a turnaround. Some employers think it's beneficial to say, okay, I'm going to let these people go. These people carved out the paths. I'm going to let them go, and I'm going to hire cheap, on the cheap. Yes, I want 5 years experience, but on the cheap. Because now everyone's budget is in crisis. And turnover and attrition is an all-time high. So what do you do? Well, I was talking to a very young, empowered, educated person, and they were like, you do whatever you want. This is the time.